In this video, we're going to show how to sketch the graph of a linear equation where we clearly label the x-intercept and the y-intercept, and we identify the slope. The first thing that we'll do is figure out what the y-intercept will be. So that means that we're going to find the point where the line hits the y-axis. And we know that on the y-axis, x equals 0. So what we're going to do is substitute 0 for x. So we have -5/2 multiplied by 0 plus 5 equals y. When we simplify this, we get -5/2 times 0 is 0 plus 5, y equals 5. So then our y-intercept is x equals 0, y equal 5. So on my coordinate plane, I can plot the point 0, 5, and that's the y-intercept, like that. Now to find the x-intercept, this is where y equals 0. So we'll substitute 0 for the y value, because where we hit the x-axis, our y value will be 0. So substitute 0 for y. And now solve for the x value. Again, our answer is going to be sum blank for x, comma, 0, where y equals 0. So isolate x. So using inverse operations, we need to subtract 5 from both sides. Now we need to divide by -5/2. But when we're working with a fraction, that's a pretty tricky thing to conceptualize. So the simpler way that most teachers will have told you is instead of dividing by -5/2, multiply by the reciprocal. So -2/5. And make sure you do that on both sides. So over here, we're going to multiply the -2/5 by -5. The reason we do this is because now we have -5 times -2 is 10. 2 times 5 is 10. So what we really have over on the right-hand side is 10x/10. Which is just the same as 1x, because 10 divided by 10 is 1. So that means that these cancel. So over on this side of the equation, we just have x. So now we need to simplify this side, and we'll know what x is. When we multiply a fraction times an integer, remember that this -5 is the same as -5/1. So now I have -2 times -5 is +10. In my denominator, I have 5 times 1 is 5. So I get x equals 10/5. When I simplify 10/5, they both divide by 5. So I can divide by 5, divide by 5. And I get 10/5 simplifies to equal 2. That means that the coordinate that I just figured out, where y is 0, because I started the problem by setting y equal to 0, has x equal 2. So that means I can now plot on my coordinate plane x equal 2, y equals 0. and that's the x-intercept. So to finish up this problem, I know that my y-intercept is 0, 5. I know that my x-intercept is 2, 0. And finally, I know that the slope of my linear equation is -5/2. Because it's a negative slope, it needs to go down as it goes to the right. It needs to decrease. Finally, I can connect the dots using a straight edge. Oops. Like that. And there's my line passing through 0, 5 and 2, 0. What this means is that I don't need graph paper to sketch a good graph of a linear equation. I just need to know the y-intercept and the x-intercept, and then use a straight edge to connect them.